If I drive 100,000 miles, would you let me stay a while?
My name is Nick. I am a foreign teacher at Yangzhou. I've been here for, I guess it's over 6 months now, somewhere between 6 and 7 months. I was actually a Peace Corps volunteer in Morocco, so I was living there for, I think it was about a year and 5 months. I had a friend that I knew for a long time that was going around when I was leaving for Morocco. It didn't really become about me going to China right away, but it was sort of always an option. Talking to this friend while I was in Morocco and telling them about my struggles, the things that weren't ultimately fulfilling for me. I guess like general life challenges, direction, which is still a question. I'm not really worried about it. I think I've got a good background of things, and I feel confident in my ability. So China is just like one backdrop for the ability to like further explore, in this case, teaching, which I've ended up actually really, really liking, and has given me some further direction in like what I might want to do in my future. And at least up until this point, China has really been an answer to a lot of those questions. So I feel like I have a sense of purpose. I thought it was going to be less challenging in ways compared to the Peace Corps, for example, because life there is generally more challenging. It's hotter. There's less amenities that make things comfortable. It's less like home. But I guess the challenges that I was looking for were like the professional level challenges. So Morocco, in a lot of ways, was very challenging, but it was challenging because there was no structure. And so here was going to be challenging because there was structure, and because there are a set of expectations that I have to meet and hopefully surpass. And so that's the main thing that I was thinking about, was like professional challenges, professional growth, and how China would fit into that. I had at least another year of like financial situation figured out, and like what my job is and what my goals are, and benefits that went along with that. So China was kind of like the risky thing to do in some ways, the less certain thing to do in some ways, but it's actually ended up being the opposite. It's ended up answering the questions of like like I said earlier, what is my purpose and where am I going professionally? Of like me personally, I have a political science background, so I'm interested in learning about the world. So it would have been staying in Morocco, which is a very interesting country geopolitically, but it would have meant not coming to China and learning Chinese and learning about another very interesting geopolitical area of the world, which has been really beneficial for me just to really understand Chinese people and like Chinese history, and really get to learn about this part of the world, which is more and more important on the global stage. Was sort of compounding gradually, all the reasons that maybe I should consider going to China instead. I arrived at a point where the idea of potentially doing more fulfilling work there was outweighed by the benefits that I saw in China. So it was like, okay, well, I only have another year here left to go. Even if I could logistically do as much work as I possibly could in the time, which is actually not a year because of circumstances in Morocco, for example, like during the summer, like most work just stops. It probably still wouldn't outweigh the sense of stability that I would get in China, the pay that was going to allow me to live a life that was more comfortable and perhaps more fulfilling. The community that I would be getting with a bunch of foreign teachers. That this is sort of really highlighted by my Peace Corps experience, because Peace Corps was like super supportive and super like coddling with the whole process, because you're going to an underdeveloped country in a lot of cases. So my first impression was that China was going to be a more standard like professional experience, where it was like, okay, I'm an employee of this company. I am brought in. There are people whose jobs is to help me set up XYZ things, but it wasn't going to be such a like standard of behavior as there is in the Peace Corps, because in that position you are a representative in some ways of the U.S. government. So here it was like I could do a lot of the same things, crossing cultures, learning languages, integrating with communities, but in a way that was like more on my terms, which was really exciting for me.